The vote is precious, it is almost sacred. It is the most powerful non-violent tool we have in a democracy. Good evening and welcome. This is Face the Nation. Our topic of discussion today is Road to the Elections 2025. Now you too can join in as far as the conversation is concerned. The number to send in your WhatsApp messages is 076 656 5353. The number once again 076 656 5353. To post questions from our panelists this evening. On to immediate right is Newsfirst, Consultant Director at Newsfirst, as well as independent journalist Shihar Anes. Now the panelists tonight, we have four guests invited to our studio this evening as well. Joining us this evening on the show are Barath Arullsamy from the SJB. He is also the Vice President of the Democratic People's Front. Also joining us today on the show is Milinda Rajapaksha, representing the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. Mr. Kesarralal Gunasekera, former Member of Parliament, as well as Thanuka Nandasiri from the People's Struggle Alliance. Let's get the ball rolling today with Barath Arullsamy from the SJB. He is also the Vice President of the Democratic People's Front. Barath, before getting to the nuts and bolts of the elections, let's talk a little bit about what happened the last 2 weeks. One of the most important visits that Sri Lanka ever saw in this year was the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Sri Lanka. Your leader was also present in one of the meetings that was attended by His Excellency the Prime Minister of India as well, Narendra Modi. What was the issues that were discussed at this meeting?
First of all, I would like to thank for having me in this show. And it was a very important visit of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to Sri Lanka at this crucial junction. And so the Prime Minister also met the minority community leaders. So on behalf of the Indian origin Tamil community and Malayalam Tamil community, a delegation led by my party leader Mano Ganeshan met Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So in that we raised the point that the political component, like winning our land rights and whatever the infrastructure development we are negotiating with the government, we will not burden the Indian government, but we requested three important things: to establish a teacher training center, especially focusing on STEM education, science, technology, that is IT and English and maths, and also to establish a nurses training center where we can cater a lot of young women as nurses and caregivers, which is a high skilled job in abroad, especially in the Gulf countries and Western countries, and also in Sri Lanka as well. And also we asked for a support. Now there is a huge demand from very inception to establish a university. But we all know that just establishing a university is a big task. It's a big process. It's a long-time goal. So we thought to bring in an affiliated campus,
right,
which is in India, to start a campus complex here in Sri Lanka.
So how significant is this visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Sri Lanka at a time that Anil Kumar Dissanayake took power just a few months ago?
I would say in the Sri Lankan context, while we are from a crippled economy and recovering economy, working with Indian economy, which is one of the $4 trillion US dollar economy, we have to work side by side. And also we would like this government always emphasize on the fact that they are focusing more on economic diplomacy. So this is the high time they should work rising economy with all the turbulences. So I would say joining hands with the growing side of Indian economy, it is very important for our country for mutual economic growth and also to develop a regional cooperation.
Right. So my question now to you is, Barath, with regard to Indian intervention, do you see India is getting too involved in Sri Lankan internal affairs right now?
It all depends on how we deal with the international relations and our foreign policies, Mr. Shaman. because unless otherwise, which is happened in international relations, there is always interest nor emotions. So I would strongly believe that the government should always adhere to the non-aligned movement, and also it's very clear after the Trump's administration coming in and the EU's tension, the new world order is emerging.
Right.
So Sri Lanka it's very important for Sri Lanka to join hands with growing economy to market and increase our economic restructure.
What is the position of the SJB on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit?
In SJB per se, SJB leader and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa also met Prime Minister Modi, and they have also had seek support to mitigate the US tariff issues, and also to increase the imports and exports, especially exports to India as well, and also to further strengthen the bilateral trade between Sri Lanka and India. And
based on what you're saying right now, Anurakumar Dissanayake is on the right track in terms of ensuring that we get the support of India at a situation that Sri Lanka is in dire needs of that international support.
In fact, Mr. Amir, on that note, I would say this government came into power especially with the promises of reform. But unfortunately, they are reforming their own stance right now. That is the actual fact. So I would say whatever they were blaming, or they said the curse of 76 years, now they have realized we were in a myth and this is the reality. So he has realized the reality.
Right. Thanks a lot, Barath Arullsamy, representing the SJB tonight on the show. He's also the Vice President of the Democratic People's Front. I now move my attention towards Milinda Rajapaksha from the Sri Lanka Pujana Peramuna. Milinda, usually when Prime Minister Modi visits Sri Lanka, one of the key people that he meets is ex-President Mahinda Rajapaksha. But we didn't see that happening this time. Why is that?
We did the request. He hasn't met any of the previous presidents, and then we heard unofficially that all the other ex-presidents have done the same request. Madam Chandrika Bandaranayake, Maithripala Sirisena, ex-president Ranil Wickremesinghe, all of them have done the request, but we heard that Foreign Ministry or the government had advised that meeting opposition leader is enough, and I think the authorities would have respected the opinion from the hosting government.
It's not the statements that Namal Rajapaksa was making in Mirigama, criticizing the Indian government's involvement, is it?
No, we were not criticizing. We were telling the truth, which we stand by even to date. And Namal Rajapaksa was in India yesterday, where he met
completely different
India.
attitude altogether.
No, we again told the same thing. We haven't changed our stance about India or China or West. We have been maintaining the same narrative always. As a political party, as you know, we met Ambassador Julie Chang a month ago at our party office. Our relationship with BJP is going far back. When we were finding our political party, SLPP, one of the first parties we officially communicated was with this BJP. And most of our political party members, our SLPP members, have worked with BJP politicians, but still our first interest is the country. And if any agreement, if any promises we make to any country is detriment to the sovereignty of this nation, that we will stand by our policy as a political party. So if this government is signing any agreement which doesn't fit with the interest of people of this country, that we will come out and talk about that, no matter whether it is with China or India or America.
How do you view Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit at this crucial juncture in Sri Lanka?
Number one, Sri Lanka has been in a crucial junction for a very long time. Not only this point of time, Shamir. Modi should be our first friend. That is what we think. It's our neighbor. It's world 5th biggest economy, going to be the 4th biggest economy by 2030. And they are opening their market. Massive, young, aspiring, middle class, English speaking population who wants to go to the world, wants to consume a lot. And this is a big market for us. And we should learn from our history what went wrong with our relationship with India, what went right with our relationship with India. So I think his visit as the first foreign leader to this government, we welcome very much. It's good move by this government actually.
So Milinda, we didn't see the matter concerning the Adani project, which was cancelled by unilaterally by the Adani group just a couple of weeks ago, was being brought up for discussion. We did not see any communique on this. The 500 megawatts plan was not discussed. However, we saw the manner in which our Kumar Dissanayake in Parliament said, whatever agreement is not in favour of the Sri Lankan government will not be signed. How do you view matters of this nature not being brought to the attention of the Indian Prime Minister, or even the Indian Prime Minister from his side, whether or not he has brought this issue up with the Sri Lankan authorities?
Number one, we don't know whether they discuss that in any of those meetings, because most of the meetings are not public and we only see the issue at the end of the meeting. So we don't know whether that was discussed, number one. But number two, Sri Lanka was in a very bad position when we sent Adani away, because they very clearly said they wanted to discuss, they wanted to negotiate, but the ministry and the government was not prepared to discuss or come to any sort of to come to the table. That was the right message Adani gave, and Adani is a massive almost $1 billion company in the world, and the message they gave, or the message went out to the world, is that Sri Lanka is not taking any of these investors seriously. That was the message went. But India is very interested in their investment, and I think more than ever, more than the politics, now India is very interested in trade, doing business with other countries. India has changed a lot within last 10 years. I think our relationship with India is going to be largely based on now how we are going to do business, not only politics. And you can very clearly see they work with the center now. They don't work with north, or they don't work with certain part of the country. India is very clear. Delhi works with Colombo. So
right.
that's a good sign, and we should be able to respect the investors, no matter whether they are coming from India or China or Bangladesh. Wherever they are coming from, we should show our caliber, our capability to negotiate, our willingness to welcome them. If the agreement is not in favor of this country, yes, we should be able to say no. With why? What are the reasons? Not just saying that it was not in favor of this person, it was not in favor of that person. It should not be in favor of the people, and people should be able to know why it is not in favor of people.
So Milinda, I want to understand from you a little bit, because you are a political commentator and you follow these developments very closely as far as geopolitics is concerned. You say that the relationship that India brings to the table right now is not about politics but about trade. But reading between the lines, there is also the political aspect to it. Why I'm saying this, if you look at the visit that was undertaken by Narendra Modi to Sri Lanka, he first goes to Anuradhapura and he opens a railway track, and then he goes to Rameswaram, and he posts videos of him looking at the Setu project.
Yeah.
And then in Rameswaram also, he's going to open
the
bridge. So now when you look at all these developments that are taking place between the lines, there is so much of politics, isn't it?
I loved it, how they had planned it and how they showed it to us. I loved it, how the political message Modi and his communication team gave to us. The looking at what is good for India and what is good for Sri Lanka. We can choose a lot of partners in this world, except our neighbor. We don't have a choice. Neighbor is given. And For our fortunate or our unfortunate, that neighbor is one of the biggest players in the world now. From cricket to geopolitics to any industry they have become one of the biggest in the world now. And our connectivity to India is going to define how we are going to change our trade landscape in near future. When I say our connectivity, I am looking at we have few other connectivities already fixed 100% very well. Our cultural connectivity, our religious connectivity, all this is done beautifully, already done. You don't need any other new work to be done there. But there is actual trade connectivity to be done. That is simply the role we have to play now as the state is very big in this case. Because looking at the world, India can be our best trade partner. There are 2-3 barriers for this trade with India. Number one, there is a mental barrier, which is coming from 1970s, 80s. The way politics work with India, there is a big mental barrier. Number two, there is actual policy barrier. The fault is with us, I think. When I look at the entire issue with India, we haven't done our part. You know, Shamir, at this very moment, the negotiation Sri Lanka and India had so far on the free trade agreement, Sri Lanka haven't appointed a negotiator. At this very moment, the most crucial moment which we are sitting, where we have to increase our quota to get more this thing from Sri Lanka doesn't have a negotiator officially appointed. So we haven't also done our homework. If someone is coming and saying India is in advantage of the free trade agreement, it's our fault. We should be able to negotiate, put our brains together, get our diplomats, get our officials and negotiate the right deal for the country. That is the second barrier which we have done. Third one is actually this physical barrier. We being so close to India, I firmly believe in for a very long time, we should have been able to move back and forth with India very easily. That could be train, that could be ferry, that could be anything. But I think we are so close, but we are so distant. And I think that is a serious barrier we have to
But this
remove.
visit itself gives a very strong message to even the Sri Lankan government. Whether you like it or not, you have to rely on India.
I mean, whether we it's 100 years old history. I mean, for this is a country which brought Buddhism, which brought, I can name 100 things, which is now we are from worshipping to consuming. It's coming from India or either came from India. So it is the truth. It is the elephant in the room. And the funniest thing, I mean, this. The Indian colonization or the anti-Indian sentiment in this country, which is some sort of political rhetoric in this country, where almost 40,000-60,000 people died, got killed because of that sentiment and the struggle built upon the anti-Indian sentiment of this country. When Anurukumara Dissanayake and Modi stood together and had these beautiful conversations and this 2 days visit, I was thinking whether Sri Lanka actually had anti-Indian sentiment or whether it was imposed by a political group for their survival, for their benefit.
We'll delve more on this, Milinda, as we go along. Thanks to Milinda Rajapaksha representing the Sri Lanka Pradhana Peramana. You're contesting the upcoming elections.
No.
You're not?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm running around the country helping the national campaign. I have been in different districts with Namal.
So, but are you in the list of the?
No, I'm not in any list. Not that anyone
removed.
Not that anyone removed my name from a list. I wanted to help the national.
But when you say it's not about someone removing your name from the list, having even the Rajapaksha surname didn't help you.
This time, no.
Right. Thanks a lot, Milinda. I now move my attention towards Mr. Kesarralal, Gunasekera, former member of Parliament. Mr. Gunasekera, you are a very staunch supporter of the NPP right throughout the last few weeks on the show. I'm going to pose a question about to you with regard to the sentiments that Milinda spoke about from the 88-89 anti-Indian rhetoric that took center stage, which killed more than 40,000 to 50,000 youth in the country. to EDCA being criticized and not agreed upon, to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit this time, to being receiving the highest ever friendship award to a head of state by the Sri Lankan government. How do you view all these matters that have culminated in the recent months, recent years in the Sri Lankan geopolitical scenario?
Shamit, India has right throughout been a good neighbor. There have been times where we have had...
But there have been a lot of times, like if you look at the 86 matters, the Timor talks, and it has been quite a steep and difficult...
But whatever, with all that, at various intervals, at various times, India has always supported us. India has always supported us. And with Narendra Modi coming to Sri Lanka on several occasions, to a country like Sri Lanka, gives a signal that he's really interested in helping Sri Lanka. I feel that that's the message that we all need to take. Having India as a close friend is good for Sri Lanka. It's always good for Sri Lanka because India is a very strong country. It could end up as a second, third in time to come. Who knows? They have 1.6 billion people. And for Sri Lanka, for those people who are against all these agreements, etc., I say India's market is 1.6 billion. But to India, Sri Lankan market is 23 billion.
No, so just to correct you there, Mr. Gunasekera, the groups that were against these agreements are now in power. Are you aware?
Technically, I wouldn't say are in power now. That's wrong because there were certain reasons as to why certain groups would have objected. But I'm talking of the business community which is against these agreements. They made a big mistake, I felt. So I feel that we all need to ensure that we move forward with India. And because India's market will be very good for us. We have 1.6 billion. What can't we do? The question is, we need to adjust. We need to adjust. And that's the only way forward for Sri Lanka, I feel. With this tariff issue, so many people have said various things as to that the economy will come down to zero. I always believe that reaction should come later. We should step back and watch as to how things move around. And once it settles down, only we will take action.
So if you look at President Anukumar Dissanayaka's tenure in office thus far, his first state visit was to India. And the first state visit undertaken by someone to Sri Lanka is Narendra Modi's visit as well. How do you view all these developments taking place under President Anukumar Dissanayaka's leadership?
I think he realized when he came in that to have an alliance with India is good for this country. That is why I think he went. His first visit was to India. And he has managed to win over Narendra Modi. I see he has managed to win over Narendra Modi. Not the reversal. Not the reversal. So in that context, he has scored. And Narendra Modi has really shown the whole world that he is a friend of Sri Lanka. 3-day
I'm just
visit.
asking you, Mr. Gunasekera, irrespective of who becomes the president of the country, do you think we will still get the support? Let's say hypothetically Sajid Premadasa is the president of Sri Lanka, or let's say Nama Rajapaksha is the president of Sri Lanka, because these are the candidates who contested alongside with Anukumar Dissanayaka at the last election. Would this be the same cordial, warm friendship that we would see in the country?
Shami, it's not correct for me to pull out names and say, okay, if so-and-so is there, this would be different. But
would it be different?
Would it be different? Pardon?
Would it be different?
To some degree, personality is also coming into play. To some degree, we have to understand that.
So are you trying to say that Nama Rajapaksa would have done a better job?
I said, You don't put words into my mouth.
I'm asking.
I said personalities.
I'm not putting words into your mouth. I'm asking you a question.
Personalities come into play, Shamil. I have observed in the past as well, where certain leaders, you can win over people. You can win over leaders. But maybe that doesn't happen always. Anukumar has been successful. And as he move along, maybe he'll build up more friends as well, which is good for Sri Lanka. He has introduced a new culture to this country. I think it's left for the people to take that forward, not to stall.
So, Mr. Gunasekera, one final question before I move to Thanuka. Don't you think the popularity of the NPP is relying on only one person, and that is only the president and just a handful of people? And when you want someone to get a job done, it has become extremely difficult within the government ranks.
No, I don't think so. There are some good people in that government. There are some experienced people.
Now,
The numbers could be small.
but I can give you a classic example. We saw one of the member of parliaments and deputy ministers recently speaking at a function went on to say that when they took the economy, it was only $20 million that was in the economy, and they were able to bring it to $6.1 billion. Statements of this sort doesn't set a bad taste.
Yes. As to why he's made those statements, I don't know, and what
Doesn't
data
that
he was
show-
quoting, I don't know.
Doesn't that show that the government itself is very much restricted to a handful of people who could really run the operations?
Shami, you have 159 members of parliament of the NPP. One person's statement. Don't take it too seriously. Don't take it so seriously. Because they have good people. They have experienced people. And I have seen some of these members, the leading members of the NPP, they give it right royally to the opposition now. I mean, I'm watching it independently. Independently, I feel they give it right royally. In time to come, maybe 2 years' time, they'll be masters.
They won't make statements of this sort.
That's why I say one or two making statements. Don't take it seriously.
Right. Thank you very much. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but I'm going to move to Thanuka Nandasiri from the People's Struggle Alliance. When they're in government, they better be careful of what they're saying, because they have to be held accountable to what they're supposed to.
Shami, the question here is
because they make a statement on the...
You can't pick one
Right,
particular statement. If it comes from the mouth of Anukumar Dissanayake or the main ministers, then I can say.
Parliamentary is a deputy minister. It's okay.
No, I didn't say it's okay. There's always a possibility that he could have made. I don't know which data he was referring to. I don't know. If you tell me what data he was referring to, I'll be in a position.
He was referring to the data that right after the appointment of Anukumar Dissanayake. If you go on social media, Mr. Gunasekera, you'll probably be able to find out the entire statement. So anyway, I now move my attention to Thanuka Nandasiri from the People's
The
Struggle
social
Alliance.
media is always against the NPP,
Right.
in a big way.
Social media is
Which
against the NPP?
It's against the NPP at the moment. I'm talking about the social media people who have been right throughout.
Are you looking at
against the
Milinda and saying that? Or?
My God, no. No, I never said anything like that. What I say is some of the social media people who are right along, in attacking the NPP are still.
But if you look at it overall, there's a lot of support from
yes,
social
yes.
media for the NPP as well.
Correct.
Anyway, we'll leave it at that. You're entitled for your own opinions. So, Thanuka Nandasiri from the People's Struggle Alliance. Thanuka, now your party has predominantly been against intervention from other countries. You all have always spoke about a homegrown solution. The country's economy should be boosted within. Tax the rich and then make sure the poor is eliminated. How do you view the Indian Prime Minister's visit to the country?
Actually, we are not against having connection with other countries and other prime ministers and having friendship with other countries. We are against the intervention. Now, the Prime Minister of India came here and signed several agreements. Even up to date, you are not aware what is the content of those agreements. That was not tabled in the Parliament. So, what are the agreements they signed? Several agreements are signed. They said 7 agreements. Some of the agreements they signed, they are going to connect the electricity connection with India. You know, there's experience. The Nepal has signed such kind of agreement, and now thereafter China and Russia wanted to donate Nepal. Thereafter India said, we are not going to take your electricity if you are getting the donation from those two countries.
But Thanuka, you don't expect a head of state to visit the country and have a wonderful time for 2 days and leave, no? You have to sign some agreements.
Maybe,
there has to
but
be a constructive engagement.
The NPP government always talk about the transparency and the democracy. If that is the case, you have to put it to the cabinet and to the parliament. The parliament, the president should responsible to the parliament and to the
Maybe
people.
one instance, Thanuka, that has happened ever in the Sri Lankan history?
Don't mind. Maybe several instances that has been happened, but this is the new government.
Never has agreements been tabled in Sri Lankan parliament.
No,
that has been signed with.
No, they have.
He has a point also.
Oh, they have.
They have, but not always. I agree.
Maybe, but the constitution says we are entitled to see the agreements. We are the people and ultimately responsible, and we are the people ultimately going to affect from the agreements.
If you look at it, we have given the government in power a resounding mandate. 159 members, this is no easy task. It has never happened before. So they will, whatever they will do for the benefit of the country. Isn't that the notion that is running or gushing in the minds of an ordinary citizen?
We are not giving a mandate them to do anything they want. We always there to see what they are going to do, and we always we can challenge them also. In one occasion, NPP, the JP government, challenged IOC handing over agreement. I am the person who drafted the papers.
JP was not in government.
No, but the JP, but JP is the main party in NPP. They challenged IOC handing over agreement. I am the one who drafted papers for the JP. I know that. I know the background of that. Now they are going to sign agreement with the Indian government, forgetting everything what they challenged in the past. That is why I am saying that we are entitled to see what are the agreement they sign and what are the benefit and the repercussions of the agreements.
But how do you view this visit in the eyes of the People's Struggle Alliance? Because your party is somewhat a very conservative, closed-door looking party. Because when you ask your party members as to what they want Sri Lanka to become, I have had many instances that representatives of your party has said, we want this to be like Cuba. So if Cuba is the benchmark that you all want Sri Lanka to be, then I don't know what sort of development, progress and democracy that you are talking about.
No, we are always within this context, not a socialist context. Within this context, we are always ready to trade with the other countries, and we are always ready to have connections with the other countries. That is all right, but we are against the intervention with this capitalist context. In the socialist context, that is different. That is true. But in this context, we are not against to have connection with the other countries.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question, Thanuka, because I'm trying to figure out the policies of your party. Now, we have a very big trade battle going on between the US and China, and Sri Lankan tariffs have been slapped at 44%, import duty, all that and more. How would you all have sorted this matter out if you all were hypothetically in power?
If we are in power,
hypothetical.
Yes, hypothetical. We are ready to trade with these countries, negotiating and getting the most benefit to our country. We are ready to do that until we are going to the socialism.
No, but I'm asking.
Yes.
In that context, It's not easy. Because you see, it's easy. That's what I'm saying. It's very easy for you all to say about socialism and all that.
Not easy.
But are you going to act like China, US puts a trade tariff, and then China puts a trade it just keeps on going back and forth. Is that the same attitude that your party would adhere to?
Even we are having Modi here, China invited the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Now they are going to have another...
No. We'll talk about all that because we have ample time.
Yes.
But I just want to understand, in a situation where there is a trade war that's going on globally, if your representatives were in power, in Parliament, what would you all have done?
We want to have a policy to boost our own economy while trading with other countries.
Right. So does that mean that all the tariffs that are supposed to come in for US goods to Sri Lanka will be removed?
No, but we have to face this challenge.
No,
I know. At the moment, government is facing the same challenge.
But I'm asking you,
Yes.
what is the answer to it?
We have to boost our own economy.
No, right, okay. But how are you going to address that problem? Now it's very easy to say we are going to address this problem and all that, but I'm asking you, what are the mechanics of doing it? Now, okay, they have slapped a 44% trade import duty on Sri Lankan goods. Sri Lanka has 26% of import duty for US products to the country. Are you going to remove the 26% and make sure that Sri Lanka exports goods to the US tax-free?
No.
No, okay.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Thanuka Nandasiri. I can see a big battle going on globally if the PSA comes into power, but we can discuss all this some more as we go along. So I open the floor for questions. On my immediate right is Nivesh Thambi, and to my immediate left is Shihar Ranis, independent journalist. So the ball is literally in your court now, or you want to pass the ball into
well, I'll defer to my
Shihar,
friend Shihar.
Yes.
Thank you, Niresh. Let me start with my friend Milinda. Milinda, you said the SLPP has been always in good terms with India, right? But if you go back to 2014 when you were, I think, a UPFA, right? India basically was against Rajapaksha's move with regard to China, right? There was a turning point after two submarines came into Sri Lanka and docked without the knowledge of India, right? That led to the defeat of Rajapaksha in 2014, and Mahinda Rajapaksha himself told it was Roe and India who defeated him, right? And then it was there for a certain time, and then you basically mend the relationship, right? So how do you see the Indian relationship now?
I see, everyone has their own self-interest. That's how the liberal world works. India has their own self-interest, China has their own self-interest. As you can see, Trump has his own self-interest, and Sri Lanka should have our own self-interest.
Do we
That's
have
the first
one?
thing. That's up to debate. I think the part of our problem is we don't know where we should go as a nation. That is why we think when India comes, we should deal with India. When China comes with a lot of money, we think we should deal with China. When the human rights issue comes, we think we should now deal with West and America. Now when the America is putting another bomb, we are looking at other markets. All that because we don't have a proper comprehensive plan to move forward as a nation. That is what I believe. Yes, political parties have their own agendas, different governments have their own agendas, but I am yet to see as a young politician what is our cohesive plan as a nation, where we want to go in our agricultural sector, where we want to go in our port development, let's say. It's one very good example. Because we want to entertain India, we give one part, then we have to give another part to China to entertain both of them. If someone else again come and ask, the Middle East come and ask, where is my share, we will give another part to Middle East too.
But Milinda, why don't we have this policy, this national policy in place? After all, our party has been in power for a very long time.
In other words, Milinda, let me elaborate that. See, you were against this Yahapalne government giving the port to China, right? But it was Rajapaksha who basically built that port with Chinese money, right? And it was not attracting any investments. Same with Mattala port, right? So what we see is the government in power has always been opportunistic. Now, for instance, JVP, they were against all this Indian move, Indian expansionism, right? If you see the social media these days,
which is coming up.
Everything
They
is
should
coming
delete
up,
all
right?
their social media
Right?
profiles, I think.
Yeah. So I personally see that they have been more opportunistic than having a national policy, right?
Sure. My point is, it's okay to get help from anyone and everyone if that fits with your self-interest. But again, you are completely giving it away. You are selling your properties, you are selling your national assets. Is a different agenda. When I say the national assets, I am not talking about these loss-making state-owned so-called enterprises. I am talking about what we have as a nation. It's a small country. We have few hectares of lands. This is all we left with. So we have to also be careful with how we deal with other powerful nations and how we are going to manage the position we are in the world. So Mahinda Rajapaksha very carefully decided or very carefully dealt with the world at that time, and only the Chinese had money at that time, so they came and invested. After the war, Mahinda Rajapaksha also wanted to show the people what is the result of ending the war. As that government understood at that time, the biggest investment went to infrastructure and other developments. We wanted to show people that when you finish the war, economic development, the prosperity would come. So the investment were done by the Chinese at that time. But we never sold the port. We never sold the airport. We never gave it right away to anyone.
Why not? What about the ITC? What about the Shangri-La?
No.
That was on the mind.
No.
That's outright.
Let's come to that. Because we gave that land to Shangri-La, in a time after the war, which no one wanted to come and invest here, because we gave that small piece of land, which is not a strategic position like a port or an airport. ITC came, Hilton came, Sheraton came, many other hotels came because Shangri-La came. When Shangri-La came here, many other hotels and businesses thought Sri Lanka is a nice place to come and invest.
True.
So that was a strategic decision. It is not like you are selling your port to China.
The initial question that was posed by Shihar to you was, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, after his defeat at the last presidential election in 2015, he said that he was defeated by the state intelligence apparatus of the Indian government. Agreed or disagreed?
He would have said.
You can't remember?
No, not that I can't remember, I don't agree with.
You don't agree with that?
Yeah.
So you're not agreeing with Mahinda Rajapaksa at this instance?
There are a lot of things I don't agree with my leaders. There are a lot of, my politics is very liberal, democratic, very independent political line I have, which my political party leaders have allowed me to maintain and be presented.
So I want to ask a question, Milinda, now.
Yes.
I want to get into, just move away from the Indian notion, because I said it's going to be restricted to the first round just to understand what was going on. Let's talk about politics within your party as well.
Yeah.
Now, Milinda Rajapaksa has done so much for the SLPP. You were with Gotabaya Rajapaksa. When there was no one standing with Gotabaya Rajapaksa, it was only a handful of people, and you were one of them.
Yeah.
And when you look at the position of Milinda Rajapaksa within the SLPP, I can't even see him anywhere.
No, I'm a member of the political bureau.
No, but you don't have any position. However, Johnston Fernando's son is highly involved.
No, that is Johan is the now new chairman of the youth wing.
The problem is, why is it that someone who is not involved as a family member not getting that opportunity within the SLPP?
No, that is a wrong argument, Shamil, because our political party has always given enough opportunities for people who are not from...
So who is Milinda Rajapaksha within the SLPP?
So I led the youth wing at one point when when we found it. I became the spokesperson to Gotabaya Rajapaksha. I am now...
The most difficult task ever that you've done?
Anyone would have done, which I love doing. There are only 50 political bureau members of the party, which I am one of them. I chaired Namal's campaign committee when he ran for the presidential election. I mean, I have had enough
but
good
do they
movements.
listen to you?
Huh?
Do they listen to you?
Some people listen, some people don't. It is a big democratic political party, and I have a very clear and distinctive political line and ideology.
Just to understand, now where is all these members now? Basil Rajapaksa is MIA. Is he coming to Sri Lanka anytime soon?
Yes.
When?
May.
So he'll definitely be there, no?
Yes.
So when you come back again in June or July, we can discuss about what's happening to him as well.
If you invite me.
So where is Tamal Raju? Where is Sashindra? Where is Nipunaranamaka? Where are the Rajapaksa?
Very good question.
Clan.
Very good question, because last week I was in Monaragala doing political campaigning for with Namal Rajapaksha for Sashindra Rajapaksha, because he is leading Monaragala district. I spent 2 days in Monaragala district with Sashindra Rajapaksha. In week before I was in Matara, which led by Nipunaranamaka and Lakshman Yapa. I was travelling with Nipunaranamaka. Again, after Aurudu, I am again going to Matara, which he is organising number of workshops for the new candidates, and he himself is the secretary of the youth wing. Then who are the other members you asked?
Nipunaranamaka.
I just talked about.
Yeah, then Tamal Rajapaksha.
Tamal Rajapaksha is heavily involved in the politics in Hambantota. He is leading
the names. Wait, one by one.
Yeah, one by one we have to discuss.
So there are 8 people.
He is leading Hambantota district campaign. He is giving the leadership as the Hambantota district leader.
No, my question is, Milinda, you've come on the show a lot. The question is, why isn't it someone like Milinda Rajapaksa is not even told to become the mayoral candidate of the SLPP in Colombo or the mayoral candidate of the SLPP in Kotte? Why aren't the party recognizing Milinda Rajapaksa?
No, I think I have enough recognition
in
my
that
party.
They asked you and you declined?
No, not really. I wanted
they didn't even ask you.
Not that I wanted to be involved in the national campaign, which I did for the presidential election too, which I love doing. So that's why I'm traveling from district to district. So only the New Year week we are resting.
But are you trying
I'm heavily involved in the...
So are you trying to say, Milinda, one day there is a possibility of Milinda Rajapaksa becoming the leader of the SLPP?
Yes. SLPP is, I think, one party which has the opportunity for anyone to rise. Because the way we came from student politics, and the opportunity we got in our party, the say we have within the party, and the opportunity party has given for us to speak whatever the political stand we take in this kind of forums. I'm managing the international.
But this is a very good point. You know why? Because last year we had a young guy from a party called CWC, right? He's on to your right. I asked him the same question.
We were together.
I asked him, can Barath Arullsamy become the leader of the CWC one day? And then he said, of course, yes.
Yes.
Exactly 2 months after, he was ousted from the party. And now he's from a different political party.
That is
do you think the same thing is going to happen to Milinda?
That is up to his party and party perspective.
Right.
I can't.
So tell me, Barath, because now you have a new party, Who is the chairman of the SJB?
He was.
I can't remember.
You don't know that
Imtiaz.
Bakir Makar, he was the chairman, and there was a dispute. Now it was resolved, so he's still there.
Are you still there?
Yeah, no issues.
So when you go, you issue a statement. When you stay back, you don't issue a statement.
So because like it was very clearly mentioned, I think because we are in the SJB alliance. Is a SJB party, they may have their differences, but I can't comment on the SJB party. SJB party is independent administration.
In Parliament, Barath, in your opinion, when you are in the opposition, what is the two biggest roles you have in Parliament?
We have to make
The two biggest roles, like the opposition leader is one.
opposition leader and the opposition whip.
Who is the opposition whip?
Gayanta Karunatilak.
He is doing a good job.
Is doing the job.
He's doing a good job. He's
Doing his job.
Not talking.
Like no, he talks. He raised point. Whatever his duty is endorsed.
Tell me 5 things that he has raised in the last 90 days.
But unfortunately, I'm not in the parliament. I'll be in future. But the thing is, at the moment, he had like.
Tell me one
there
point.
is any.
Tell me one point. Don't tell 5. Tell one.
If there is now recently also, if there is any, a kind of biased approach by the chair, so he make a kind of a request to opposition also to have a equal ground.
One time he did that.
So he did that for recently. There was a point of order which was raised by Nandasiri. So he stood up and stood with him. So we all saw that.
So he's doing a good job.
He's doing the job.
But a lot of people have this notion the NPP is surviving because of the incompetence of the opposition.
NPP is surviving because they fed myths to the people. Now people are realizing.
No, but I'm asking you. People are saying the NPP is surviving because of the incompetence of the opposition. Who should be held responsible?
No, the NPP is getting exposed because of the competence of the opposition.
Now, let's take a look at Dr. Harsh De Silva for an example.
Yes.
He has been in Parliament since the year 2010.
Yes.
And he did not even get the post of organizer in the Colombo district. The organizer in the Colombo district is Sajid Premadas.
Yes.
Is there a party internal conflict?
No, Shamir, as I told you, within SJB party, there might be, some kind of a differences. Every party, it's a democratic party, so they have their councils, committees to decide. But as a whole, this party is more democratic than a cadre-centric party like JVP or the NPP at the moment.
So anyone within the SJB can raise their opinions, raise their voice, if there are any issues within the party ranks without any fear or problems.
SJB alliance concern, all the alliance members get the equal opportunities and they are being heard.
Right. So I want to ask a question,
SJB,
Barath.
I really can't comment.
Just reversing back a couple of months ago, right after the parliamentary election, your leader was defeated in the Colombo district. Did not even secure enough seats to get a parliamentary position. But he comes from the back door to become a nationalist member of parliament. How do you view this? Defeated parliamentarians entering through the back door of parliament because of the constitution provisions and finding that loophole.
Shaman, it's a good question because it was, I was expecting that question as well. In the elections, especially in the parliamentary election, there is no winning and defeat. Right?
There is no.
No.
So people don't reject or people don't.
I'll explain, please. So it's all about have you got the enough preferential vote to fit into the winning seats? Like the approved seats. So always there will be we will be in the waiting list. So member who is not selected in that within the stipulated seat, he will be in the waiting seat now. Recently, unfortunately,
So
an
what do you
MP,
mean?
an
Now,
MP
now,
from Kerala district, NPP
let's make it very simple. Barath Arullsamy contest from
candidate district.
Kandy district, and you get defeated. How are you in the waiting list?
So it's not defeated, Mr. Shamir.
Then
so
what is it?
now we have.
Do I
12
have a new
seats.
word for that?
No, that's what we are in the waiting list. So if there is no, now that's what I just wanted to give you an example.
No, waiting list in the sense you
That's what
are
I'm
not
saying.
defeated. You are in the waiting list.
Yeah, like
in whose waiting list?
Like
In
no,
the- in the-
no, let me finish my
Tell me.
point.
We're also listening to you.
Now, Kagal district MP, unfortunately, he passed away day before yesterday. Now today, election commission, the next in line in the list.
You all are waiting until everyone passes away.
No.
Right,
That,
right,
now,
right.
if
That's
say,
good.
now say
That's
for an
good.
example, one MP now in the
This
last
is waiting.
last parliament, Mujibur Rahman was he resigned to contest on behalf of for the local government. Then the next person
So how
in the
many
line.
people?
he
How
came.
many people should die for Barath Arullsamy to come?
No, I don't wish anyone to die. But the thing is, it is waiting
resign.
line. That is the legal point. What I'm going to say.
So Mano Ganesan was also in that waiting list.
No, he was in the waiting. He was in the list, and it is the party which decide. No, let me finish that. So you were asking about how
Barath,
he came.
very nice, sir, the way that you construe
No,
all this.
I'm
Nice
not
story.
telling. I'm telling the facts, Mr. Shamir. I can't, bend what is actually there. So,
no, when
second-
so now this will be very interesting. Now there are a lot of presidential candidates also. No? So they are also in the waiting
No,
list.
presidential candidate is a different.
that's
That
a
is a different election, no, Mr. Shamir. So it is, this is a different. It's preferential
But don't.
vote.
But I'm just telling you
Yeah, then
for
let
everyone's
me
clarity.
finish. So people-
Don't wait and
No.
hope someone to die.
Let me finish. Because Shamir, like you all have this question that pointing at our president as well, party leader as well. Came in national list because it is the national list is given to a party which is in a quota. So the party has all the right in the national list which is in separate, or the people who contested in the contesting list. So the party general secretary has the right or the right to nominate any person within those two lists, not any third person coming in. So this quota from SJB Alliance was allocated for TPA Alliance. So TPA Alliance decided leader Mano Ganesan should get into the parliament. So this is the entire
The waiting
fact.
list.
Entire fact.
The waiting list.
So I can't, deny the fact that which is set out in by law cannot be, twist and turned according to the whims and fancies of one person.
But don't pray and hope someone has to pass away.
No,
for you.
I really don't wish anyone to pass away. But the thing is, that is the truth.
Mr. Gunasekera, I want to ask this question now. You are one of the experienced politicians with being a former MP. How do you see the local government election in the context of a new party in the government, which has never happened in the 76 years? And we are also going after a landslide victory in 2018 when we saw the system was somewhat changed, the electoral system. How do you see this local government election?
Well, the question, I still feel that once the election is over, they'll have to do a lot of changes with regard, because the total number of members getting elected is far too high. That has to come down by at least 40%. We have to go back to because the number that we had in the past is more than enough for the local authorities to be run now. That increase was highly unwarranted, I feel. But anyway, that's a mistake that we made. I feel that the people would prefer to have councils also backed by the MPP, because they feel that they are more better to carry on the local government activities. That always can happen. But at the same time, local government election is totally different. It's on the neighbor, the friend, etc., who goes and votes for their friends, etc. And those things also can take place.
Yeah, but they should not vote for their friend, no? They should vote for the person who has the best policies.
No, in local government election it's totally different, Shamir. It's not only policies, it's friendship, neighbors, all those things come into
Because
play.
usually the ward is around 800 to 3,000 votes approximately.
So that's most of them are known to, they are friends, etc., and therefore there is always
It
a
could
chance.
even be a thug who will be elected to the local council.
The thugs have come to parliament as well.
Which party?
Don't ask me parties.
You're looking
That's
at I don't know, you're always slanting your head towards Milinda, but
Surely he's not that.
no, he is not that, but not his party also.
Shamir, this country has produced thugs from local authorities, provincial councils and parliament. Don't ever make a mistake on that. We need to change that. That's why I said this culture, either we promote it or destroy it. One of the two.
We've had chief ministers who have asked teachers to kneel down. So that's the kind of thuggery that we have.
And don't you think that those people need to be punished as well? I always believe you do something wrong, you must be punished. Even 10 years down the line, you have to be punished.
Yeah.
That's the only way people will learn that they have.
I just want to ask you, Milinda, now this recently, Namal Rajapaksha made a very surprising remark. He went on to say that Shirani Bandaranaike's impeachment was not something that the party was really advocating.
Could have done.
Yeah, why?
No, what he said was what the parliament did at that time was not the right thing.
So it was his father who was the president.
Whoever did, when you learn it over time, what is right and wrong, I think that's a good sign as a young politician.
Yeah, so
you admit what had gone wrong.
So is that why that you all did not vote for the acting IGP's committee to be established as well?
That I precisely don't know what is the policy stand of 3 MPs representing SLPP to vote or not vote on the particular matter, but Namal was referring to that. He said the intervention of the parliament for different matters should be kept under control, otherwise these are mistakes he said these are the mistakes even we have done, and at that time, so better this government learn from those mistakes. That is
but
what
if you look at it, but if you look at it in parliament, after Shirani Bandaranaike's impeachment, there had been another person who was impeached. That was the Public Utilities Commission chairman who was impeached, and the party voted in favor of that as well. So then that was not a mistake.
No, different circumstances, different issues, different situations. It is not just the impeachment of anyone or everyone. It is the different cases. I don't know. I mean, a lot of my friends who are in the legal fraternity has said, who are supporting SLPP, who have supported my election campaigns. The Shirani Bandaranaike's case was a wrong move made by the parliament at that time. The parliament would have not involved in Chief Justice matters. These are legal matters, constitutional matters. People have different schools of thought.
Yeah, but this was not a personal vengeance of Mahinda Rajapaksha, right? To remove Shirani Bandaranaike.
But if you look at, if you objectively look at, I don't think. If you objectively look at Shirani Bandaranaike's case at that time, as far as I understand, there was a base for the legal argument too the parliament made, because parliament was trying to move number of bills which were important for the development at that time of the country, and the decisions were given by the Supreme Court was holding some of those work.
Just imagine how sad after you impeach someone from their position of Chief Justice. Few years later, the ruling party is saying that the decision that they took was wrong. What is the sort of precedent you set Is that the attitude of the ruling party MPs after that to say we are sorry?
No, he
Is sorry
didn't-
good enough?
No, I don't. See.
Is sorry good enough? But if it happens to Milinda Rajapaksa one day?
Sorry. That's how it works, no? So you see, this is how the history works. You work on different circumstances at that time. I mean, we can learn from different situations and then talk about it from different contexts, different situations. But you can't change the history. I mean, different things have, how many wrong decisions the history, our leaders have made, but if you go back and read the context of at that time, you know, those are different times, different.
Example, making the international convention center in Hambantota. No?
No, what is wrong with
The
that?
what?
No,
No, what is wrong with that? Because it is a village.
No.
Why? Because it is Hambantota.
No, is it being used now?
No.
Is it being used now?
No, it was not used because the government deliberately stopped the development in Hambantota because the Japan government wanted to take the revenge from Hambantota people. Simple as it is.
So Nelum Kuruna, for an example,
Yeah,
being used very well.
that is up to the regime which is running the country.
Milinda,
The infrastructure has been done, so the other authorities have to use it.
The rocket that went to space with the
I
Sri
mean,
Lankan flag.
aren't these
decision.
vanity projects
I don't
rather
know.
than
I didn't send any
infrastructure?
rocket.
No, you didn't send any rocket now.
I didn't send any rocket. The only rockets I have sent in my classroom.
Yeah, but
No,
one
Milinda,
of the Rajapaksa sons sent a rocket.
But that was a private affair, no? It was not from the state money. No? That was a private affair. It has nothing to do with the government. No? So the Nilum Kurun and all that we
But
can
now-
argue and discuss because these are state money.
Now the Criminal Procedure Act must be really putting down jitters down the spine of a lot of parliamentarians, no?
But most of the parliamentarians are NPP, no, now.
No, but those who are ex-parliamentarians?
Probably. That I don't know. Probably, yeah.
You're talking about
Good.
the proceeds of
Yeah,
crime.
crimes,
Good, no? Good.
I don't know, you tell me.
No, I'm happy.
But what is your leadership saying?
Who's?
What is your leadership saying?
I couldn't discuss that, but I
next time,
think everyone is happy.
Now there are 50 people in the Politburo. Next time you discuss and come in there.
I will put this into the agenda of the
Milinda.
Politburo that Shamir suggested to discuss this.
Discuss
Milinda.
whether it's putting any fear in the minds of the
I don't think. I think everyone loved it. No, I think the way it was discussed in the parliament looked like everyone is happy about that.
But they didn't
That's
vote
how
in
I
favor,
realized.
But they didn't vote in favor.
No, everybody, I mean, it was unanimous.
Everybody, yeah. Everybody agreed.
That's
we-
good.
Look at your presumptions.
Milinda, now you said about it's Yahapalne, basically it made it vanity project.
Yeah.
But even after Yahapalne, your government came to power.
No,
Why didn't you do that?
Come on, Shad. What is the government we had? We had a government of COVID. What to do in that? You know, the entire government effort went to manage COVID.
No, fertilizer, banning of fertilizer also COVID, no?
Yes, to a large extent.
I thought that was before COVID.
No, that is after COVID.
Based on Milinda,
After
everything was COVID.
But if you look at, Shamir, if you look at why the government made that decision at that time, we all know very clearly in our hearts, the around 300-400 billion rupees or the dollars around 2-3 billions goes to buying fertilizer.
$400 million.
Huh?
$400 million.
$400 million goes to buying fertilizer. So that was a major issue government had to manage at that time.
What is the rationale now? Take rubber plantations for an example. What is the rationale of not putting fertilizer for rubber plantations?
No, but that is wrong. No. That is wrong. So when this whole thing happened, the government very clearly gave different agricultural sectors to have fertilizer. As an example, which I got involved in, at that time, lot of friends came and said most of the flowers, anthurium or whatever we cultivate in Sri Lanka required certain fertilizers to get the color. So that was immediately allowed to bring down to Sri Lanka. So different sectors were allowed to do that.
But do you know, Milinda, the damage it did for the tea industry in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I know. I'm very well aware. I'm very well aware.
Still trying to raise its head because of
Who is the mastermind behind that decision?
Who was it
Because
behind this?
we can ask that question. You know why? Because Gotabaya Rajapaksa spoke.
No, Gotabaya does not have.
Not at that time.
No, Gotabaya Rajapaksa does not have that strategic, kind of to take a decision.
He's not strategic.
No,
He's not a farmer.
He's not agri
He's not a
expert.
farmer.
No, that is what he says.
Right?
He's not an agri expert.
he was depending on some advisors. So who were the masterminds of this decision?
So to be very honest, I was not his spokesperson at that time, and I was managing another affair of the government.
you were in the party, right?
As a member of the party.
At that time. So members of the party is not
He
aware.
was the Minister of Mass Media.
No, members of the party is not involved in making decisions at the
but
President's
this is a
Secretariat.
very crucial
but
decision.
as far as, but I will say what I heard. That's all I can say. No, for the benefit of everyone. As far as I heard, the advocates. So two kind of people had been involved in making this decision. Number one, the people who are involved in the financial decision making, who were looking for avenues to stop dollars going out from the country. That is one aspect.
Who were they? Name them. No, you have to name them.
How
you
do
said
I name?
financial.
Is going to get angry with me unnecessarily.
You have to name them, Milinda. Because
Come on, Milinda.
somebody should be accountable for this, right?
Yeah, of course.
But now these
Who are
financial
Gota?
No,
these financial wizards, didn't they realize that when you stop the fertilizer, your agri exports, your agriculture will crash, and that will cause a much greater financial disaster.
And the people who presented this case to Gota had said, don't worry, for next 2 seasons we have enough fertilizer in this country, so when we stop it, nothing will happen because we have fertilizer for next 2 seasons. After that, we can look into the matter.
Where was the feasibility study?
That was half-baked truth.
But remember, Milinda, you said that Gotabaya Rajapaksa was so smart and strategic. When the New York Times reporter came, in fact, she had held your hand and said, "Millie, I want a coffee.
I need a coffee."
So you're saying a person of that caliber made a mistake. But you say that he took one book from one.
I mean, even Lord Buddha, Jesus, and everyone had made mistakes. Why this normal man can't make mistakes?
At the cost of Sri Lanka.
Still, you didn't answer my question. Specifically,
that's the cost when you make someone's president.
Specifically, who are these people?
Huh? No, the people who are the
So
authorities.
one set was advising on the finance. The other set?
Other set who were not directly involved in our political affairs, but the people who were advocating for what you call this so-called not the chemical ban, but the carbon what to call this carbonic
fertilizer
for agriculture.
Yeah. So Thanuka, when you listen to all these statements, how would you all do things differently? Now you all are contesting the local government elections in several wards in the next on the 6th of May. Your job will be even difficult.
Yes, in the previous general election, he asked for the opposition. Now, I think the people has realized, even at this instance, Parliamentary silence. We don't know what is doing. You directly asked, what is the role of the chief opposition wing, and what is the role of playing the opposition leader in the Parliament, not in the Parliament, but in the country. Now, the government is doing what they want to do, and without consulting the people, without responding to the people. Now there should be a strong opposition. I think that has been now established by the opposition themselves, and now the people should understand.
You are saying the opposition is weak?
Yes, definitely yes.
And you are saying that therefore the opposition has to come from the local government.
Even in the local government election,
you are saying the opposition led by the SJB is weak?
Yes, definitely yes. Even in this instance, Parliament, the NPP government is doing what they want, and the SJB is silence. That is why we in the general election say you want to have a good opposition, and we ask the people to decide. And
I'm just wondering, Thanuka, Vasantha Mudlik is still there in the party?
Yes. Yes, he's in the party.
He's in the party.
Yes.
What have you all been doing for the last 6 months? Now you all point the finger at the SJB.
Yes.
I want
Tell me what you all have been doing for the last.
We are not in the parliament, but we
No,
are
but-
yes, we always challenge the government's decisions. The way we can do,
Like how?
right? We are the people. We organize seminars, we organize workshops, we organize press conference. We always go to the people and explain them.
But don't you think that a little bit more can be done?
Just at the moment, we are not in the parliament or not even in the local government bodies. We have to do politics with the people in the road and in the.
So you all are supporting the government now.
No, we are not supporting the government. We all, if they are doing good things, we definitely support. If they are doing any wrong, we definitely oppose.
So how would your role be if you all were in the opposition in parliament today, hypothetically?
We, as I say, if they are doing any good, we definitely stand with the government. If they are doing any wrong, we definitely oppose.
Thanuka, during the election time, I guess even your leader agreed with that. They were kind of in sort of agreement with the government policies, right? Before the election, right? Certain on certain things over economy, and then the rural agriculture, all those policies, they were almost in consensus with the NPP. How do you see now?
Consensus mean we always stand for a national economy. Even
That's what they stood for during
yes,
the election,
even
right?
even in the NPP agenda,
Exactly.
their mandate, it was there,
Yeah.
right? But the problem is whether they are at the moment whether they are stand for that. That is the issue.
So
If the government stand for the national economy, we definitely support.
No, when you say national economy, and this is something mentioned by Milinda also, what about the loss-making state-owned enterprises? Now, is it your party's position that they should remain as they are, continuing to make losses which the taxpayers have to pay?
Most of the institutions has earned losses because of the management.
No, but Thanuka, now we have had 76 years to try this out. No, there are some institutions, SOEs, which simply have never, they don't make profits. They are not likely to. So why, and they are not essential services. Certain things, yes, certainly they are essential for the population. Therefore, the government has to provide that. But there are, I think, 400 or 500 institutions. I mean, we don't even know half of them. And so many are making losses. But shouldn't those be shut down or sold off or something? This is a huge elephant in the room.
If that is not benefit the people and not for the people, we have to think of that. If the institutions are making losses, but important to provide welfare for the people, we have to keep them for the state, because that is the duty of the state.
So, Barath, opposition is weak. That was one of the allegations leveled by Thanuka.
That's because Barath is not in parliament.
To serve the people, it is not essential to be in the parliament, but also if you can influence good policies to be made by the policymakers, it is sufficient enough as a contribution who is actively in politics. And also to adapt the things he made, the comments on the opposition. From late 80s, the JVP had a rhetoric approach, like, this entire investment is bad, this privatization is bad, Indian affiliation is bad, American affiliation is bad, everything is bad. So same, they are also in the same page. Now after JVP converting into NPP, coming here and just agreeing whatever the neoliberal idea, they are taking it forward. Similarly, I am sure if they are also coming into power, they will do the same thing. There is no change. Once they come into power, we have given, people had given the power to show, okay, in one pen signature, they said they will change the entire history of Sri Lanka. But till 6 months, they have
Rice
not.
mafia. That's a good question, Mr. Gunasekera. They said that from one signature, the rice mafia will be eradicated.
And also he tapped the table also.
No, so what you say is, Barath,
You cannot eradicate
everything is
mafia
rhetoric.
like that.
No, they said
Why did they say
It's
it?
not that easy. It's not that easy. It's a very difficult operation because they are well established. You have to find base and it will take time.
If the one industrial group or a syndicate is very well established than the government administration, that is evidential that government is not efficient. So this is the same blame game. They did it for all the governments consecutively for 30, 46 years. So nothing has changed. Now I saw
Barath, just getting back into the policy framework of the elections.
Yeah.
I have not seen any policy document from any political party to uplift their local councils. Why is that?
No, we do have the SJB as a whole from north to south, the institution, nearly 390 institution which they are contesting. They are run on a motto that the government came into power saying that saying lies, and now it is time for in the grassroots level to make change.
But you all also don't have a plan.
No, we do have a plan.
What's the plan?
We for the presidential election.
No, what's the plan?
No, that's not. For the presidential election, the SJB Alliance, they introduced their manifesto, and we had a kind of a working plan how to uplift the country in economic perspective, social perspective. So we, as an opposition, we are looking at nation building as well as economic restructuring.
Let's say hypothetically, you all win. Hypothetically, you all
Not
win
hypothetically, we are very sure that we will win.
It's like the one that you said that you'll be with the CWC.
No, see, Mr. Amir, you that question is fair enough. Situations arises, decision has to be made.
So you will say after 1 month, Mr. Shamir, situation arises that we lost the election.
No, see, we all are attempting, all the parties here are attempting
You have to be,
to
have
win the
mentality.
confidence of the people.
Yeah, because we had people from the SJB like Kusum who came and said they want to be in the opposition. So at least you coming and saying that you all want to be in power, that's a good thing.
No, the thing is, it all depends on the people's mandate. If the people decides, okay, if they wanted to continue with the mandate they have given to the government,
let's say hypothetically you all win all the councils in Sri Lanka. Okay. How will you all work with the central government?
No, the central government and the local government is not two entities, no, Mr. Shamir. It is a state body, no. So as a president, they can't, the president or the government can't separate the local entities and work in isolation, no. So they have to work with the grassroots. So the grassroots is connected through the local authorities.
No, but now given the fact that the machinery of the NPP is very strong, they're even going to the extent, Milinda, to win the little bit of votes that they have in temples also.
Yeah.
They are really pushing that envelope forward and trying to become that political party that will be a force to be reckoned with for the years to come.
Yeah,
So
the
in
only
a
political
situation-
party.
Yeah, so in a situation like that, Milinda, how competitive is the political environment going to be as far as these local council elections are concerned?
It's competitive in many layers. Number one, it is competitive in a layer where NPP is the richest political party probably in the history of Sri Lanka. They are a very rich political party. They are investing a lot of money in their political campaigns. They are doing whatever the history of politics this country has done, they would do the biggest. It could be the biggest rally, it could be the biggest spending, it could be the biggest advertising, they can do it. So that is one layer of challenge all the other political parties are facing at the moment. Number two, the way they do politics. The way they do politics is completely different to the way SJB, SLFP and other political parties in the mainstream political arena did politics so far. We were fighting in a very democratic political space so far. You know, no matter whether we are in opposition or government, there is some sort of minimum respect we had for other politicians. NPP completely cut it out. Today the political conversation in this country is so bad, so full of hatred, so much full of filth. They have created the political atmosphere in this country where and someone else from another party can't even go and put your political ideology on Facebook. Thousands of NPP army of soldiers will come and put filth, call them, threat them, put messages on inbox. The level of harassment.
You're saying this with responsibility, yeah?
I am telling this to the Sri Lanka's biggest media channel. I'm telling this to the level of harassment, the level of thuggery NPP is using, the level of filth NPP is using in politics of this country is today unbearable.
Are you a victim?
Number two,
are you a victim?
To a level which I don't want to even talk here.
Is it also is it bigger than the SLPP?
It's bigger than SLPP, SJB, UNP, SLFP, we all have been in the politics for last 40-50 years in this country, have never taken arms, have never killed people from other opposition politics, have never gone to houses and take them and put them in a death row.
Barath was arrested, 2010.
Arrested but never killed, no, at least.
Lasati Vikramathinge was born in 2009.
Yeah, that is not a political issue, no? That's a separate issue.
No,
that was not the election issue. There were so many other, in different eras, different people have been killed, different people have got...
No doubt oblivion to what happened in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, but which doesn't give an excuse to what NPP is doing right now. So that is the second layer of threat we are facing in this politics, since you asked this question. The third level of challenge we are facing today, the pressure NPP regime is giving to the political leadership of SLPP. So Namal wakes up every other day to go to CID, give some sort of statement. Even in this season, we had to cancel a number of our political campaign meetings because arbitrary Namal is called to CID to give some sort of statement to spend 2-3 hours. Then he has to come back and start the day again. So that is a different level of harassment NPP is giving at the moment.
Are you saying that the CID and the police are being politically interfered with to do this?
That is how it looked like. I don't know, I don't have enough evidence, but that is what people are saying. That is that is the conversation in the political arena.
Called for? What is he called for?
It's very difficult to understand.
Why?
Very difficult to understand because every other day he is called to give. Someone has given a letter, so question about that. Someone has said something somewhere, so question him about that. So, but this has been part and parcel of our life.
Baba, there is no smoke without a fire, though.
Why was he called yesterday?
No. Yes, everywhere else other than in politics.
Why was he called yesterday?
Politics is permanently on fire.
I'm not really aware. I am in a position now, Shihar. I am not even bothered about why he is called to CID because every week at least one time he is called to CID. He goes, gives a statement, come back, we start the day again. So it has become that kind of joke now.
So, Mr. Gunasekera, now local councils play a pivotal role in a country's economy and in country's development as well, because let's not forget about a lot of people ask what does the local councils do. If you look at your trash is being taken by the local council authorities, the street lamps are lit up by the local council authorities, and there's many work in terms of road development, all that and more. If there are no local councils, the administration of a particular ward becomes well defunct. In this election, what must political parties really strive to achieve in terms of their objectives as far as elections are concerned?
But there are so many changes. As I said, there were so many changes. I feel the biggest issue here in this country is that the centre is not willing to give its share of money to the local authority. That's the biggest problem. That has been their problem.
So you think, Mr. Gunasekera, let's say hypothetically the SJB comes into power, will they have a same problem working with the centre, which is NPP government?
Of course, the question is this: unless you change your policies and give more money to the local authorities, the request has been 32 the provincial councils and 10% to the local authorities. We are not getting 10% from the state government. No, that's wrong.
Nothing.
No, that is all wrong. And mind you, 3 years down the line, it was decided that the revenue grants that have been granted by the centre is going to be removed gradually after a period of 5 years. I hope that is changed now. That was introduced by Honourable Ranil Wickremesinghe.
No, but how would the local councils, if it says different government in play and the centre is a different government, how can they coordinate and work for the betterment of the country? Should there be a synergy or shouldn't there be a synergy? You just can work because, as Barath said, that money will anyway have to be allocated.
No, they can independently work as well, but it is far more better for them to work in synergy with the central government. But the issue is not that. The issue is the quantum of money that is going to be doled out to the local authorities. The centre has to do that.
How much do you think the SJB, in a comparison, the SLPP, SJB and the NPP, if you look at the split, would it be an outright victory for the NPP at this time's local council elections, or it will be much more split evenly?
If the people want to establish and fortify the present culture, political culture that the NPP has introduced, I feel they'll get the majority of the councils.
So, Milinda, that will make you all in the losing camp once again, and you all are ready for that?
No, I think NPP, but looking at the experience in 2018, we won most of the...
That was start for the SLPP.
SLPP, even without being in power, we nicely function all the councils. That's what I'm saying. You don't need the power in the centre to manage local councils or the municipal councils. That we have proven and shown that how effectively and efficiently that can be done. But number two, yes, of course, this time NPP has a natural advantage of winning most of the local councils because it's very fresh mandate they have immediately after 2 winning elections. But that is not where we will judge the NPP mandate. Whether NPP is able to secure the same number of votes or at least the number of votes around that figure which they took for the general election, whether they can assure that during this small period of time. That will show whether the trust of people for this government, whether it is losing, whether it is still there, or whether it has been improved. That is what we can judge from this election.
Milinda, I know you also somewhat handle the international wing of the SLPP as well.
Yes.
I see you very much present when Jolie Chang visited the SLPP headquarters. You were holding her hand also, no?
Yes. I love it, holding other people's hands.
So I just want to understand about this trade war that is taking place. I pose this question to Thanuka as well. We saw the manner in which how Raj Senathan today addressing a media conference said that Ranil Wickremesinghe can only make a phone call to Elon Musk and solve this problem. You all also have someone to call like that and solve this problem?
No. This all the way we are looking at this issue is such a, in one way, very hilarious, and the other way it is very dangerous. Without understanding the politics in America and without understanding the mandate which was given to Trump, and again without understanding how America is dealing with the West and the rest of the world, we can't even think about solving this problem. And we are such a small nation and such a small player even in this whole trade deficit issue in America. I think probably Trump realized Sri Lanka is in the list when he was reading the list. When he was reading the list.
When he saw right at the bottom, he said Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And probably he didn't even click that the name was there in that list.
Yeah. So that is the reality in this whole thing. So we had a very good conversation with the US diplomats yesterday to understand this issue.
So just want to update now.
The tariff has been increased to 125% by
China, and I suppose on the other countries for, I think, around 70 days. Sorry, 90 days.
90-day pause for the other.
For the negotiations. For the negotiations.
They will be which have not retaliated.
Yeah.
But they will be at 10%.
Yeah. So that is basically they are teaching the lesson more and more to China and few other countries which which retaliated. And actual trade deficit is also there. Our trade deficit is 2.5 billion trade deficit, and if you look at India's trade deficit is more than 100 billion. So we are in that kind of small place.
Well, our
conversation with the US diplomats yesterday to understand how this works. One thing which I realized from that conversation. This is not only about the trade deficit, Shamir. We have to show America, because we are not going to fill the trade deficit now. So then how are we going to deal with that? The only way to deal with this, we have to show America that Sri Lanka is a fair playing field for American investors. And the rule of law is equal to West America, Chinese, Indians and everyone. Then we have to win the trust that the level of corruption, level of bribery, level of, other malpractices are very low. So the good American companies come and invest here. Then also we have to look at other markets, how we can move to India, how we can move to ASEAN. ASEAN has become one of the biggest consumers in the world now. How we can move to those places. So this is not a problem which we can solve in one night, even if this is solved. Shamir, let's say America during this 90-day pause period, look at a small 20 small countries like that country where the penguins live. Okay, we remove some of the barriers from those countries, and the lobby we do. I think one thing President AKD did right, I must appreciate, gave the responsibility to the private sector people. I appointed a fantastic committee with the private sector people. I love that idea, which I advocated. As soon as I heard that, I thought we should get private sector to handle that, because they have the money,
real stakeholders.
They have the money, they have the know-how, they can lobby, they have the people in America who has the trade relationship with them, because this is going to be a lot of lobby and a lot of
already in place.
Already in place, and they can spend money. You have to go to America, you have to spend money, you have to get right lobbying companies, you have to put the message out there. So even if this gets sorted, Shamir, this is a very good lesson for Sri Lanka to understand how wrongly we have been doing our trade business. We haven't diversified, we have been a closed economy, we have been maintaining such big state-owned companies, we haven't given a fair playing field for other companies to come here. State has involved so much in business in this country. Now learn the lesson.
So Thanuka's argument of state operating business won't work.
Haven't worked in the world.
Thanuka,
it cannot work.
Thanuka, I'm just asking you for my knowledge. Tell me one country in the world that this system that you all are advocating has worked.
Maybe there is no country, but the policy is.
We'll start with Sri Lanka.
No, we can. The state sector it is for the benefit of the people.
Right.
Now they are talking about the business and all for the benefit of the companies and the business people, not for the general public. That's the issue. We are advocating to have a good country, welfare for the people, not for the small segment of people in any of the country.
But technically, Thanuka, this system has not worked.
Yes, that is the same critique we have.
Right.
This system is not worked.
No, the system that you are advocating has not worked.
No. This capitalism is not worked.
Then every country has to do this. No, if your system is the role model or the pinnacle of hope.
In every country, there are people advocating for this policy.
But that has not been adopted or engraved in the system.
At the moment, there may be a few. But there, in every country there are people advocating for this policy.
But Thanuka, don't you think it's high time the People Struggle Alliance changes its policy just like the NPP or the JP did?
No.
You have to change.
No. Ultimately, we are advocating for the socialism. Now the NPP has changed their policy. That is the main critic we have.
Let's say I remember the JVP before was a so far left party. Looking at what they're doing right now in terms of the right policies, the liberal thinking, neoliberal policies that are being introduced. They have even surpassed the UNP.
They are not
yes,
socialist.
that who's for whose benefit?
They are not socialist. They are not capitalist at this moment.
But who's?
They are opportunist.
But for whose benefit? Only to a certain segment of people in the country.
Right. So I want to end
for the
show
general
tonight.
public.
Yeah. So I want to end the show tonight, but I want to give each speaker 2 minutes each, just to sum up their thoughts with regard to what would be the way forward for us after the 6th of May elections. What sort of aspirations? What sort of thinking? What sort of decision must the people make when they go to the polling booth on the 6th of May? So let's start off with Thanuka.
People should understand at the moment government is not doing things for the benefit of the people, and the opposition is silenced. They are not doing their role in the opposition. Therefore, people should understand the people who should select at the election. Now we have put forward a policy. You asked about the policy. In the president election, we put forward a policy. We stand for the same in the general election. Even at this instance, the policy is there. That is for the entire elections, not for the elections, to develop this country. We have put forward an interim policy and the ultimate policy. That policy document is there. We stand for that. The people can read it, people can understand it, and people can decide on that. And therefore, I invite people to consider those policies and vote for the candidates. The People's Struggle Alliance.
Will you all win any award?
At the moment, no. This is the first time we are contesting for
Will you all win any award on the 6th of May?
Definitely we will. Definitely people will decide. And if I am giving an opportunity to answer several questions.
Yes, please.
The Barath said we will do the same if we get the government. No, we are not doing the same because we are not believing in this system. We are advocating for a different system. In that system, we will do the better. In this system, we won't do. Yes, but we have to change it, and we will do it the people's power. And therefore, we will not doing the same thing as they did.
Can you keep the promise after being elected, unlike the NPP?
Yes, definitely yes. We are not lying. With very well knowing the people won't accept our policy against the IMF, we advocate for that. We tell the truth to the people, and we stand for the national issue. We put forward our policy. We know that most of the people will not understand and maybe against with us, but we put forward our policy. We stand for the policy, and we always telling the truth. Therefore, we will keep our promise even after the election.
Thanks a lot, Thanuka Nandasiri from the PSA. Mr. Gunasekera.
Shami, I feel any opposition to be strong, the government has to weaken.
The government has to?
Has to weaken.
Weaken.
They might make mistakes. If the government doesn't weaken, then the opposition is also weak. And that is exactly what is happening in today's context. It's not that the opposition is not active. No, they're trying their level best. But the government is strong. They are not making mistakes. That's one reason. And I feel that that will go on in that manner. And the next local government elections, also they will run away with so many councils. And I feel people should go and elect new people to local authorities, because you know why? The culture is different now. They have established a new culture. For heaven's sake, promote that. Get new people, whether it is from his party or Barath's party. Get new people.
Someone's asking, Mr. Gunasekera, I usually don't ask questions in the last round. Now, are you trying to say that there are no corruption under the Sri Lanka customs? All this has changed.
Are you mad? Those things are still there. That has to be changed. I have said it over and over again. Customs, inland revenue, excise, all those things, they need to change. They'll definitely give them time. Those things need to change because you know why?
There'll be one or two deputy ministers who will say something wrong, but that has to be forgiven.
No. You asked me a question, I answered.
No, I said another question.
I am telling you, I have always said, inland revenue with a 25% workforce, you can run that efficiently.
No, I'm asking
you. Ask all those people to stay at home.
You said the government has not made mistakes. So I'm asking you just...
I said the minister's misstatement, don't take it so seriously. Some deputy minister's statement, just one from 159. It's not but the issue is not that. The issue is the government is strong. This is exactly what happened in the last elections. You know, when I was saying with my program with Niresh also, look here, the government is going to walk away with 2/3 majority. They never believed. But I realized, because everybody is saying, look here, so-and-so is going to win, so-and-so is going to run away with elections. What rubbish. The people were waiting for this and they voted. The local government elections, there is a small shift because, friends come into play, then relatives come into play, the neighbors come into play. There could be small changes. But besides that, NPP will win some of the councils, most of the councils. That's going to happen. And I feel it should happen that way because they can work in unison. This is the country. This is the only way. You establish new procedures, etc., new culture. Take it forward. Get new people, even from their parties. Get new people into the local authorities. They'll do well. Because local authorities is a focal point. Corruption areas are the focal issues in the local.
You were also a deputy mayor?
Pardon?
You were a deputy mayor?
I was.
Not corrupt at all, no, at that time. They were Mount Red Municipal Council was very good. Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. You made a statement. That's it.
No, when you're laughing, when you're laughing, it tells me
no.
It was very good.
Oh.
Or are you trying to say it was bad?
No, I never said anything. You made a statement, I laughed.
I didn't make a statement. I'm asking a question. I'm saying. So the Development Municipal Council during your tenure, as deputy mayor, was very good.
Shamir, the issue here is you need good people into local authorities. I'll tell you something. Just give me 1 minute. The political culture is
good. The others are not good.
Political culture is in. We have so many new members of parliament, which is good for this country, rather than getting the experienced people. Because the experienced people messed up the country. Good. Local authorities do the same thing. You know why? Then comes to the officials. The problem in this country is corruption is two-way.
No, very quickly. I understand. But just
officials also have to change.
So you were the deputy mayor of the Deval Mountain Municipal Council.
Come on, you said it out thrice now.
Yes, I'm asking. At that time, there was no corruption.
Who said there was no corruption?
All right, okay, that's all. We'll leave it at that.
Corruption is always there in local authorities, Shamir. Corruption is there. The only way to stop it is get good people and have good, strong laws. It's the centre who is not doing all this. The centre makes changes to provide corruption in local authorities. Centre. That's the biggest mistake.
Thanks, Mr. Gunasekera. Milinda.
As far as the election concerns, I think the decision people has to make in this election is very easy. Number one, you make the decision based on what this government has promised and what they have delivered. Very simple. Go back last year, all the election promises, all the TV shows, all the stage shows, this government from Anura Kumara Dissanayaka to Samantha Widyarathna to Nalin Hewage to Lal Kanta made all the statements, and look at last 6 months, what they have delivered. They are still beating Namal Rajapaksha, they are still beating Mahinda Rajapaksha, they are still beating SLPP members because NPP hasn't delivered anything, the things they promised for the country, or the things they wanted to change in the political culture, or the things they wanted to change in the economy. They are still, in the economics front, they are still continuing what Ranil Wickremesinghe and the SLPP government did. 100% they are delivering what we planned. They haven't changed a single thing, even changing the officials of the finance ministry as they promised. And number two, the mega promises they made from the corruptions of Kanchana Wijesekar to Namal Rajapaksha, nothing, even they have the police to army to everything under them, nothing has been found, nothing has been delivered, but to a level where their own MPs have told now, they lied about Uganda and other places during the campaign. And the third thing, the continuation of the lies from Anurukumara Disanayaka to Nalin Hewage, the culture of political lies, the culture of faking, the culture of taking people on this political ride needs to be stopped here. So all what people can do is go and teach this government a lesson, tell that you don't like the lies they have been telling. They tell that you don't like the lies they are telling on the stage at the moment. Tell them that they are not delivering anything as they promise. That is what you have to do on the election day. Very simple.
Thanks, Dr. Milinda. Barath, Arullsamy.
I would like to request extra 1 minute to, I hope in future programs also you will invite me to clarify that. You know, why I left CWC, it's my duty to explain that since it has come in the program twice. So the party took a decision, which the decision I was taking on behalf of my constituency and my people. So I should take a genuine call either to, you know, adhere to the decision which is going to go against the people's mandate. So I took a decision to have a separate identity, and also I informed the party and party house accepted. So it is not a cutthroat situation. And also about SJB, what the SJB is doing right now. I heard the colleagues were mentioning about we are not strong, we are not capable, because with now we have already informed the government there is going to be a trade war between the West and East, and we should take the precautions. It is not about, you know, we are taking because of Trump, but because the new government has come in. There should be a systematical change to empower the local businesses. But for 6 months, we don't see any improvement in the system of governance. It's not about, you know, experience or system, but it's all about how we take small changes into the uplifting the life of the people. And in relation to the Democratic People's Front, you know, our party leader's appointment as a nationalist MP, it is not unconstitutional or illegal. It is all within the legal framework. And we, with the constitutional framework and according to the law, he has come into the parliament. He is raising more concerns about the people, not only in the regional level, but also in the national level. So people should understand the value of such national leader being in the parliament, and also questioning and making accountable the government which they have promised for the people. And also in relation to the economic situation, yes, we do have a strong foreign policy should be incorporated. We are facing a lot of turbulences, and since if you take after post-war, we have been facing a lot of issues such as, you know, in 2015 a regime change and 50 days change and COVID, Easter attack, economic crisis. So the Sri Lanka being facing a lot of issues continuously, but still our people are strong enough to contribute to this economy. So before commenting or criticizing the opposition, we should understand the system is so corrupt. So we all, like government may have plans, but strategies should be achieved even with the rivals, even with the oppositions. So the government should understand we are always cooperating for the betterment of the state. That is what we requested all-party conference like in this week, and as a result there's all-party conference. So leadership is not about, you know, what we are saying and what we are doing, what we are actually doing to progress an individual's life. So I don't see a progressive approach by the government yet. So we as opposition will definitely support and question and uphold the government which they have promised.
Right. Thank you very much, Barath. Thanks a lot, Thanuka, Nandasiri from the People's Struggle Alliance for joining us this evening on Face the Nation. Mr. Kesarralal Gunasekera, former Member of Parliament, Milinda Rajapaksha, representing the Sri Lanka Pulajana Peruman, as well as Barath Arullsamy, representing the SJB. He's also the Vice President of the Democratic People's Front. Barath.
I have clarified.
No, a quick question.
Yes.
Will I at least be able to see Barath Arullsamy as the president or the leader of the DPF one day? I'm going to hold you. I'm going to hold you to this.
No. The time and my involvement in the party will decide, and it is not about my aspiration, it is people's decision.
I must tell you, Barath, you have changed. You have changed after CWC.
Positively.
Thanks a lot, Barath.
Thank
it's
you.
always nice to have you on board, my friend. Thanks a lot, Newsfirst. I'm the consultant director at Newsfirst. Thanks a lot, Shreya Ranis, independent journalist, for joining us this evening on the show. Thank you very much for posing questions on our WhatsApp number 07665655353. It was a pleasure to take your questions to our panelists this evening. I leave you tonight with the quote, as I always do. By voting, we add our voice to the chorus that forms opinions and the basis for actions. Take care and good night.